Hi everybody. Okay, today we're going to walk you through some tips to make your hub look a little better than just a normal standard hub. Nothing big, nothing elaborate. Anybody can do this. Basically, I want to walk you through how I set up a very simple 400-word hub. That's on, for the example, this is one on KCAN house siting. And as you can see, it's very pleasing to the eyes as far as looking at it. It's got pictures, the words are broken up into nicely sized paragraphs. Not necessarily 6 lines long because the picture kind of takes it and scrunches it together, so it looks better when you break it up a little better. I've added spaces between and I've added lines as page break. Pictures also tend to mess with your title, so I'm going to show you how to set that up and fix that. So this is just a basic hub that we're going to go ahead and set up. So here's what a lot of people's hubs are looking like, either without pictures or with pictures, but the problem is that this has a lot of bunched up text. This is very uninviting to the eyes, especially if you have no pictures and you just have a bunch of ads and some words. So it's very plain and very boring, and some people will actually bounce out of your page if it looks like this. So what we want to do is have them stay on the page and read the article and possibly click on an ad. So what we need to do is turn this into this. As you can see, it's a completely different experience on the page. Okay, so I'm going to show you what I did on this page specifically. I'm going to do it in real time with the next hub. So basically, the first thing you want to do is make sure your title's good. Make sure it's exactly telling them what's in the hub. Because of the new ads that show up here, I've been putting my picture above the fold here, so I'll pick a big, nice picture to put there. Kind of offsets the text down here with the ad here, which you can't see unless you're not in publish mode. And to be able to see that ad, all you have to do is sign out and then go back to that hub. Okay, so this is kind of an unsightly looking thing, but the fact is if you start off with text, you're just going to have it's going to look really jumbled. By putting a big picture up here, you get kind of a better effect from this, and you don't go directly into the content, so they don't have to see that right away. And then when they scroll past that, getting rid of that top, then you can see the rest of the hub. And as I said, you can see it's broken up really well. It's got pictures and everything, including the ads, are in there just the way I want them to be. Okay, so we sign back in, and I'm going to go to the next hub over here. And basically what we're going to do is go in and edit this. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is set up my title, which, since it's a series, I'm going to use the same beginning part, and then what it is, add the keyword, and save. Okay, and then coming down here, what I like to do is add a text box, and then just throw this line in. This is about where it's going to cut off, right by this X2. So you don't want it to go beyond that if you don't want it to overlap. If you do go past that, here's what it's going to look like. You're going to have this overlap right here. So a general rule of thumb is not to go past right there. Save, and this kind of gives you a page break right here. Okay, and then what I do here is, in this particular hub, I'm using this as a navigation box, which I just created a link to the next hub, or to the last hub in this case. And you always want to put space around things. You don't want everything crammed together. So generally what I'll do is I will create a text box for my title, which I'm pretty sure will work just as well. And on the title, I also add the line to give it another break. Then I'll just name the first text box, or the first title box, I'll just use the keyword, okay? And then set it in there like that. The reason I do this is so it doesn't mess up the picture, doesn't mess up the actual title. And then in here, I'll actually come in, if I don't have a picture next to it, I'll actually come in here and put a space at the top and a space at the bottom. But since I have a picture in there, it looks better if you keep the space out of the top. And so here we are. So far so good. Now, as far as the text goes, I know from experience that basically 2 lines of text will actually fit perfectly with a picture next to it and look like a paragraph. So sometimes I'll go to the first line just to see what it looks like, and you'll notice how much text is in there. So what we do is add a picture so we can get an idea of how much text we need to put around it. Let's go ahead and use this one. Sometimes you don't use a border, sometimes you do. In this case, I'll go ahead and use one. Okay, so in this case, we don't need a lot of text bunched. We need actually more text bunched so it makes this look more flush. What I'm going to do on this one is give it a considerable amount of text, but I want it exactly lined up with the picture itself. And go ahead and break it right there. Okay, and that gives it kind of a cleaner look. If this was a longer picture, I'd break this into several paragraphs. Actually, it might actually look better that way, broken right here. And then I'll go in here and I'll pretty much break it down every 3 or 4 lines. And the reason you want to do this is you want to make it as much space around the words as possible, because the space will break up the words. It won't look like so much reading, even if it is. Plus it makes your hub a little bit longer. It doesn't look so small and simple, yet it's still in the same 300 to 400 word range, or whatever your word count is. Okay, so I went ahead and did that already. I'm also going to add some more pictures, but I'm going to show you what I usually do is I've created a space insert picture. Basically just the picture I made that's just blank. And the way I do that is just open up your Photoshop, or you can even do this in your Paint Shop Pro program, or Paint Shop, which comes with Windows. And I just go in, I do new. Doesn't matter, you want it to be really small actually. So you want to do, something like 100 by 100, and it's going to adjust inside the system. So make sure it has a white background and just give it a name like blank. File, save that, and there you go. That's all you have to do. So if we were just to put this in here, you can use this to space out the pictures, because sometimes they cram the pictures too close together. And to make this as small as possible, because you don't want your page load to be brought down any, is you go to a quarter width, and then Hub Pages will automatically make that fit. So you just hit save there, and you notice you have this picture here. So I can add a second picture below that, for example, if I wanted to use this one, and you'll see that it shows up with a space between it. Now, in this case, you're going to take the border off, because obviously it's going to show your spacer with a border around it, which you don't want. And if you show it like that, there you go. It's a great way to space out your pictures. You can put the space on the top too if you'd like. And it works really well, and you can just keep reusing that. I basically save that on my desktop, and anytime I need to use a spacer in between pictures, I'll use it. You don't want to just throw a bunch of pictures in a long row, because that's going to make this all look this size right here. You want some that are like this and some that's completely across the screen. And you do that by breaking up your different paragraphs. In this case, we're going to give it a couple lines down. So I'll basically start at the next point, which is the finish. So what we'll do is we'll go back in here, the finish, copy all of that, keep the space at the bottom right here. As you can see, that particular capsule looks perfect. And then we'll go to the text file, add another text file, and add a picture file. What I like to do is break up any block of text that has pictures in between it with line. Up to you, but I think it looks cleaner that way. Just all depends. I'm just kind of putting this in here to show you how it looks. Okay, and then we go back to the text. We're going to paste it back in there, save it. The reason I put this other text box is I want to add the title, which in this case I could just put based on what's in the first paragraph. The picture I'm going to add this box right here. Again, we put the text thing on top, so it's completely separate from this. But Google's going to read this, and then it's going to read this. It's going to put the two together. And then we'll just add a picture. Sometimes it looks better without a border. There you go, then you add a picture in there. And you can break this down even further and add another subheading just to give it a better look and feel to it. As you can see, it's all completely separated out. I actually need to use a different picture because I've already used that one. Now, if it has a lot of white around the outside edges, or it looks like it could stand alone on a white page, I won't put a border around it because of the way it looks. And you always make sure that this is set so they can make it bigger so they can read the content if they want to. And for this one, I could actually break it down one more time. We've got a point here for tests. Copy that, paste, keep a space in. I come down here and add another text. Text back in here and save. Now you don't always have to put a picture next to it. Sometimes it's better not to put a picture because they've seen pictures all along and you want to kind of give them a break from that. Now what I also do at the end of my hubs is between the comments box, they always put an AdSense ad right above the comments box, but sometimes it goes right into your text. And what I like to do is just add a photo and use a spacer right there just to keep it clean. And if I have a text box in here for something like this, like go to the next, I don't want the AdSense to get in there and jumble that up and make it look dirty. I'll do the same thing right up below it. And don't forget to set it to quarter width because you want it to be the smallest picture possible. And there you go. You've got a nice space between everything. Now just as a last SEO effort, I would like to use my keyword in one more of these boxes. Kind of use some of the other, it's going to be important as far as SEO goes. You don't want to use it too much, but where it fits, you can put it in there. And there you go. And you just publish it, and there you go. You've got a much nicer looking hub. They put the ad in there that kind of screwed up my text box, but that's okay. And you've got this here. Actually thinking I should add another line underneath this just to separate it from the title itself. And we're done. And there you go. And then you also want to make sure you go back and you check your tags. Tags are very important for internal traffic for the site, which I've already got. Basically went through and I threw all my tags in ahead of time. This is a great feature that they let you do that. So there's today's tip. Good luck.